Hello and welcome. You should be on page 26 of your Algebra 1 Quarter 3 notebook. In this video, we are going to work on multiplying a binomial, 2 terms, times a trinomial, 3 terms. And as with multiplying binomials times a binomial on page 25 in our last video, you can do this in 2 ways, using a table or distributing each item. So I'm going to demonstrate each way, and I'm going to start with the table. I've got my binomial, so I'm going to have 2 rows, and a trinomial, 3 columns. So I'm going to just set up a table, 2 rows and 3 columns. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm going to set my binomial here. I've got a 3x, a positive 2. My trinomial, 4x squared minus 2x minus 7. Now it's time to multiply. I have 3x times 4x squared. So that's 3 times 4, which is 12. And x to the first times x squared. That's 1 plus 2. I've got x cubed. Now I've got 3x to the first times negative 2x to the first. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. 1 plus 1, I've got an x squared. And finally, on my top row, I've got 3 times negative 7, which is negative 21, and it's just going to be an x. Going down to my next row, or my second and last row, I've got 2 times 4, which is going to be 8, and x squared will remain. 2 times negative 2, that's negative 4, and an x remains. And 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. As with binomials, my diagonals are going to contain my like terms. So I'm just going to circle that. 12x cubed is my first term. I have 8x squared minus 6x squared, so that's going to be positive 2x squared, minus 4x minus 21 is minus 25x, and the minus 14 is what remains. Alrighty, let's take distributing each term. So what that means is that I've got to distribute this x to each term. And then I have to distribute my negative 4 to each term and rewrite. So I'm going to go with the x first. This is x, so my coefficients are 1 times 1, so 1. X times x, so this is x to the first. 1 plus 2, so I have an x cubed. Now I'm going to do x times 6x, which is going to be plus 6x squared. I did 1 plus 1, 1 times 6. 1x times 3 is going to be a positive 3x. Now you're going to notice with this that my next, I'm going to skip this line and I'm going to go here. Negative 4 times 1, negative 4x squared. And I'll put it right under my other like term. Negative 4 times 6 is negative 24, and it's just going to be the x. And now I have negative 4 times a positive 3, which is negative 12. So now I'm going to combine them up and down. X cubed remains x cubed. 6 minus 4 is plus 2x squared. 3 minus 24 is going to be minus 21x, and minus 12 is alone as minus 12. So that is a binomial times a trinomial. Last up is dividing a polynomial by a monomial. So polynomial, 4 or more terms, monomial, 1 term. And what I want you to think about is this is kind of like 3 different fractions. I have 18x cubed y to the 4th over negative 3xy squared. I have 27x squared y to the 5th over negative 3xy squared. And finally, I have negative 36x y to the 6th over negative 3xy squared. And if I rewrite that, kind of separating them out with their common denominator, that will help me use now the quotient rule of exponents, and I'm going to be subtracting. So I have 18x cubed y to the 4th over negative 3x to the 1st y squared. And then I've got 27x squared y to the 5th over negative 3xy squared, and that's x to the first. And I've got negative 36x to the first, y to the sixth, over negative 3x to the first, y squared. So let's do some subtracting and dividing. 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6. 3 minus 1 is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. So my first term will simplify to negative 6x squared y squared. 27 divided by negative 3 is minus 9. 2 minus 1 is 1. I'm not going to write that one. And 5 minus 2 is 3, y cubed. Finally, I have negative 36 divided by negative 3, and that's going to give me a positive 12. I have x to the 1 minus 1, which is 0. This cancels. And I have y to the 6 minus 2, which is y to the 4th. So I think if you rewrite as separate fractions, it's quite clear what you're doing. So let's look at number 9, and I have negative 80 x to the 4th over 88, x squared. I've got 24x cubed over 8x squared, and I have negative 8x squared over positive 8x squared. Let's take a look step by step. I have negative 80 divided by 8, that's negative 10, and I've got 4 minus 2, x squared. I have 24 divided by 8, that is positive 3. 3 minus 2 is 1, so it's going to simply be an x. And then I've got negative 8 divided by 8, that's negative 1. And that cancels because 2 minus 2 is 0. So I am left with negative 10x squared plus 3x minus 1. Well, I can cancel out variables with the same exponent because this essentially equals x to the 2 minus 2, which equals x to the 0 with equals 1. I can't just cancel. Negative 8 divided by 8 does not equal 0. It doesn't go away. Okay, the last element of this video is now we are going to apply translating some verbal expressions and how can we use our understanding of multiplying polynomials, monomials, trinomials, binomials with area and volume. How can we use that to simplify finding area and volume? So Tara is putting in a pool in her backyard. The length of the pool is, there's my equals, 4 more, that's 4 plus twice is 2 times the width, so 2 times W. So length equals, and I'm going to put the 2W first, plus 4. And I should use the multiplication, the little dot, because it looks clearer. All right, the depth, which is another way of saying height, depth is usually synonymous with height, is half. So that's half of, indicates multiplication, the width. So the depth or the height is 1/2 W. And since I have written each of these measurements in terms of W, well, W equals W. That's the one we are going to determine all the things from. So let's look for a perimeter of the pool. Remember, if I'm talking about perimeter, I'm talking P equals 2W plus 2L. So it's 2W, so exactly what it says because W is W, plus 2 times W plus 4. To simplify this expression, I'm going to distribute first. I've got 2W plus 2 times W, 2W, 2 times 4 plus 8. I'm going to combine my like terms, and I get 4W plus 8. So if I want to find the perimeter, the outer measurement of that pool, I can simply substitute in my dimension of W, and I've got it. The area, remember the area of a rectangle is found by multiplying the length times the width. So I want to multiply the length times the width. So it's going to be W times 2W plus 4. Looks like I have to distribute my W. I'm going to just add a 1 there because I know I'm going to be adding those exponents. 2, 1 plus 1 is W squared, and I've got plus 4W. That one was a lot quicker to simplify. 2W squared plus 4W will give me my area. Finally, the volume of a cube or a rectangular prism can be found by multiplying the length times the width times the height. So now I have W, there's my width, kind of doing this a little backwards, times half W times 2W plus 4. And I'm going to make sure I put that in a parenthesis because that is a binomial. It's got to be counted as one factor. So I'm going to multiply the factors that don't have addition in it first. So I have W to the first times 1/2 W to the first. So that's going to be 1/2 W squared. Now I'm times 2W plus 4. And I have to distribute 1/2 W squared into 2W plus 4. So 1/2 times 2 equals 1, and W squared times W to the power of 1 is W cubed. I'm not going to write the 1 W cubed because I don't have to. Now I have 1/2 W squared times 4. 1/2 times 4 is 2. Excuse me, I forgot my plus sign. Plus 2W squared. And so my volume is going to equal W cubed plus 2W squared. And here it all comes together, right? You know, I said we can simplify these expressions, and if I know width equals 8 feet, I can find how much water can fit in the pool, which does indicate volume. So since I know volume equals W cubed plus 2W squared, I'm going to simplify 8. Substitute 8. Volume will equal 8 cubed plus 2 times 8 squared. My order of operations tells me to do my exponents first. So my volume equals 512 plus 2 times 64. I know that 64 times 2 is 128, so volume equals 512 plus 128. And when I add those two together, and I'm using my calculator, I get volume equals 640, and it's going to be feet cubed because I'm talking about volume, so I will label my answer as a cubic measurement. That is all for this video. Thank you so much. Bye.